This week on the RV podcast,
picking up the pieces after a major RV accident. Do you toss in the towel? Do you start all over again? In our RV conversation of the week, you'll meet a couple who faced those questions, and they have some inspiring advice for all of us.
do your RV shades annoy you by rattling as you drive down the road? Our RV lifestyle community has some great sounding dampening advice.
Dangerous heat, nasty weather have been sweeping across the country, taxing the comfort and the safety of lots of RVers this past week.
All this, plus the RV news of the week and your questions coming up in episode 505 of the RV podcast.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Wendland, and this is my lifelong traveling companion and my bride, Jennifer.
Hello, Mr. Mike.
Hey, we should remind everybody that you can watch a video version from our RV Lifestyle YouTube channel, and we invite you to go over there. It's youtube.com/RV Lifestyle. And of course, if you are a regular listener, you know that we're on all of the podcast apps, and we hope you listen to us through one of your favorites there. And when you do so, would you do us a favor and give us a review of the podcast? It really helps other people to know about this, and Google loves to see those reviews, so we'd love to have you give us one. Big thank you right now to all of you who took the time to respond to our series of reviews on various RVs. We started off a few weeks ago by looking at small Class A's, and then this past week we've done small cab-over Class C's, under 30 feet. And next Saturday on our RV Lifestyle YouTube channel, we'll review the all-electric luxury Patriot Class B RV from Midwest Automotive Design. So that's exciting.
And the big news for us is we have a new truck, a long bed Ford F350 4x4 turbo diesel. And now we have to get it ready for next week's trip to the Canadian Maritimes.
And man, that was a big hit in the pocketbook and to our plans for a relaxing time before we left for the Maritimes.
Relaxing, leisurely time to pack and think.
And flat out. It was anything but. For those of you who just don't know what we're talking about, we had a major issue with our existing truck. The repair to it would have been astronomical, and it just didn't make any sense. The truck's a 2021. To spend that money on a 2021. So we ended up biting the bullet and buying a new truck to pull, and we picked that up this week. And next we got to put a hitch into it, and then we have to hitch up our fifth wheel. We want to run that to the factory, the Keystone factory in Elkhart. We need to do a little twitches, find out why our washer dryer is leaking. Then we got to haul it back, then we got to pack it up, and then we're off to the Maritimes next week. So we are excited. This is going to be, I don't know, a 6-week trip.
6 weeks we're going to be gone.
Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island. We are really excited. This is a fantasy RV tour. We've always wanted to go on one of those. And it's a caravan of 25 different units. It's kind of the nearest, what I understand it's going to be like, is kind of like one of those all-inclusive cruises that you take, or an all-inclusive resort stay, except we're in RVs.
And we all got to drive.
A little over 150 miles or so average, per each time you drive. We start in Maine, and then we end up in Prince Edward Island. And we'll try and document as much of that as we can as we do it through social media and our RV lifestyle community and YouTube videos, and Ask Us Anything. But that's going to depend on the internet too.
Yes.
We're going to be in some fairly remote areas. I'm told that our Starlink satellite system works great there, though. So.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. But we're just hoping to basically chill out. We have heard so many good things about fantasy RV tours, And everybody says, well, this won't be your first. And, well, it is our first, but we don't know. They all say you're going to be wanting to do more of them. And their reputation is excellent. So we're looking forward to giving it
We
a
really
try.
are. I think it'd be fun to like leave the driving to us, except leave the planning and
Yeah.
reservations and food, good restaurants, leave all those details
Yeah,
to
they have it
experience.
all set. They give you an itinerary. You don't have to travel together. You just, okay, we're all leaving, and you want to end up at this campground sometime today, and that's when you go up to that campground. All that's taken care of. We have a couple of wagon masters, as they call them, who are at the front of the pack,
And at the back,
and then at the back we got a couple. They call them tail gunners, who are there if there's any issues, and they've made all the arrangements, all the foods, and most of the meals are provided, and most of the attractions, a lot of the attractions that you'll be seeing, they've got travel tours organized, and this is going to be fun. It's going to be different than anything we've tried before.
yeah,
So,
we've never done anything like this before, so we're excited.
yep. All right, we've got the social media buzz. People are talking about a lot of stuff in the RV lifestyle, and that's coming up right after this. After countless nights on the road, we have finally found the ultimate comfort solution for our home away from home, our RV mattress from rvmattress.com/RV lifestyle. Now let me tell you, this is a game changer. Everybody knows that the stock mattresses that come in an RV are not great. And whether you are a weekend warrior or a full-timer, you deserve better sleep. RVmattress.com has 22 plus size options, 5 height options, and 3 firmness options, so you are bound to find something that fits. Jennifer and I got the signature hybrid mattress in queen with the cooling cover, and we love it. It truly has us sleeping just as good in the RV as our house. In fact, so good, we actually got another RV mattress for our sticks and bricks house. Now, swapping out the uncomfortable old stock mattress for our new RV mattress was easy. It shipped from Arizona for free in a box. We brought it into the RV and never looked back. This RV mattress is plush comfort, the best sleep we've ever had in an RV. Every night feels like a luxury retreat, and we highly recommend upgrading your mattress at rvmattress.com. Trust us, you will not regret it. And if you use the promo code RVLifestyle, you'll get a really nice discount. Again, go to rvmattress.com/RVLifestyle. Welcome back. Time now for the social media buzz.
And Wendy Boyer reports on the hot issues most talked about this past week on social media and our RV lifestyle community group. So Wendy, let's hear it.
Hi, everybody. Over in our RV Lifestyle Community's general discussion space, we had a recent post from Lynn. Lynn is on a road trip, and she has those metal blinds in her rig, and they are making all this noise as she drives down the road. The wands hitting the metal blinds are whacking against her window. And she asked, anyone have any ideas of what I can do to make this stop when she's traveling and then ultimately replace them with when she gets home? And this led to a really good discussion. Carrie said for her trip, the short-term solution might be to put some Velcro on that wand and then attach that Velcro from the wand to the blinds to kind of cut down on some of the rattling. And for long-term, David cautioned when you replace this blind, if it's above your stove, make sure you don't put curtains there because that could be a fire hazard. And Steve, he said he replaced his metal blinds with a roll-up shade, and it works great. No more rattling, no fire hazard. Just, again, a great discussion in that thread. And also in our community, in the general discussion space, we asked, what is the most unforgettable place you visited in your RV and why? And this is a post everyone should read. Lots of bucket lists or travel ideas in here, but I'll share a couple with you. Frederick, he said the most unforgettable region he's been to is southern Colorado, and he mentioned the Great Sand Dunes National Park, Black Canyon of the Gunnison, Mesa Verde, Padosa Springs. He said that drive along US 160 to Durango is just spectacular. Just a wonderful region every RVer should go to. For Tim, his suggestion was to go to Unicoi State Park in the mountains of northern Georgia. And he shared a picture of his campsite, so beautiful in the woods, very inviting. He said there's trails all over the place. There's this gorgeous lake that's a wonderful clear color just waiting to be paddled. There's waterfalls a short drive away, and the state park even has full hookups. So sounds like a great place. And Linda, her favorites were Dead Horse Point State Park and Moab in Utah. Both of these, she said, were just spectacularly beautiful, and the night sky with the stars all come out just cannot be beat. So again, lots of great travel suggestions in this post. And then meanwhile, over in our RV Lifestyle Facebook group, we have lots of discussions going on there as always, and one was from Lisa. And Lisa had just returned from a cross-country RV adventure, and she had unknowingly picked up some unwelcome guests. Now, these guests had gotten into her bedroom, into her bathroom. They were even in her bedding, and she took a picture of one of them. And I got to tell you, it was the most disgusting, creepy little green, pale green spider with almost looked like a scorpion because it had these legs that just protruded. Really got people talking. We'll make sure to put a picture of that in our show notes. And we're talking, there were like 400 responses to this. Many said, burn the RV down. Now, I'm pretty sure they were joking. They just really didn't like spiders. Many other common responses were something like, ew. But this was a great discussion. And, you know, it just kind of goes to show when we're out there in the woods, sometimes you pick up things that you unknowingly picked up. And from the 400 and more comments, it sounds like others have picked up things too. And you just never know. And I hope that Lisa got rid of all those creepy spiders from her rig. And that's it for me this week. I'm Wendy Boyer, and I'll see you over in the RV Lifestyle community or Facebook group.
That Dead Horse State Park is one of our favorites as well. It's absolutely a beautiful place, and it really, really is fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I encourage you all to go look at what other people have recommended as favorite places, because maybe you need to put it on your bucket list.
Yeah, and we invite you guys to be a part of our RV Lifestyle community. Just go to community.rvlifestyle.com. We'd love to have you join. It's absolutely free, and we just have so many interesting things to talk about there and great friends that you can make through that community. So come on over. It's not on Facebook, and that's one of the big pluses of it because there's none of that nastiness. Again, it's community.rvlifestyle.com. Coming up, the RV conversation of the week, and we're going to talk about what happens when you have a real setback in your RV lifestyle and you have to pick up the pieces. Or do you throw in the towel and quit? We'll talk about that and meet an inspiring couple right after this. Jennifer and I took a trip to Las Vegas and Arizona to look at Windmill Acres, a brand new RV property being offered by Western Land and Ranches. They're selling off 1 and 2 acre parcels starting at only $14,900. Now these are big. An acre is the size of a football field. The properties are on a plateau with big valley views, and the location is amazing, next to Lake Mead National Recreation Area. We had a blast. There are so many places to explore near the property. The Grand Canyon. We took a boat ride on the Colorado River below Hoover Dam. Boulder City was a fun little town that's right off Route 66. And of course, we had to enjoy some nightlife in Las Vegas. It's a lifetime supply of fun things to do when you own a camp at Windmill Acres. The properties are now available. This is 100% ownership, so there's no reservations needed when you want to hang out, time limits or crowded parks that you have to go through. You can share your property, you can rent it, it's whatever you want to do. For more information, visit ArizonaRanchSales.com or call 822-232-LAND. Welcome back. Time now for the conversation of the week.
On April 29th, Norm and Nada Voss suffered a life-altering event. While they were driving their diesel pusher, Class A in Virginia, the front right tire blew, which is, I think, everybody's nightmare, and their rig and Jeep tipped, and paramedics told them they were lucky to be alive.
And miraculously, this Florida couple were not seriously injured. They had to go to the hospital, but they got out fairly soon. And now much to their non-RVing friends' dismay, they're back on the road. They're starting all over again in a brand new Class A. They
Now,
could have quit.
yeah, they could have quit, and most people probably would have quit. And as you're going to hear, it was a terrible accident, but they didn't quit. And we caught up with them to learn about their accident and how they're moving forward and get some tips that are not only inspiring, but could help all of us.
Well, Norm and Nada join us right now. Hi, guys. It's great to see you.
Hi.
So start off, if you will, by telling us a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll get into picking up the pieces when something catastrophic happens. But tell us about yourselves and your
Okay.
RV history.
Well, this 4th of July was actually 20 years since we met. We've been married 16 years. Both of us are second marriages. So we've been RVing ever since I met him. There was one occasion where he said to me, if my wife had lived, we were going to get an RV and retire. And I said to him, and he was shocked because I came from a certain environment that he didn't expect that. I had been married to a surgeon, etc. And I said, I can do that with you. We had RVs. So the next week, he went out and got our first Founder.
Yeah, it was a Bounder motorhome, and I called her back. She was back home in Florida. I lived in Illinois, and I told her, "You better get another plane ticket because I pick up my RV next week."
So,
Wow. So Norm, you were a widower. Did I hear that right?
Yes, my first wife passed away when I was 48. Passed away from cancer, and I luckily life moved on, and I met Nada, and things have been fantastic ever since.
tell him
And-
what you want to say.
Yeah, my
Nobody
first.
believes this.
Yeah, nobody does believe this. My first wife actually told me about 2 months before she passed. She said, soon after I pass, you're going to meet someone that will change your life forever. Now, I met Nada 6 weeks after my wife passed. And the last thing I wanted was a relationship or anything, but it was just made in the heavens. I mean, it was the perfect thing to happen.
And Nada, tell me your background and how you guys met too.
Well,
You were married, you said before, yeah?
to a urologic surgeon, married for 35 years. I won't get into why we got divorced, but we did. And I was kind of down that year. It was the end of the year of the divorce. And my son lived in Chicago, and he played on the weekends in a band. And I said to him, it's 4th of July weekend. I'm very depressed. Can I come out and visit you? He said, yes, but the band is playing in this terrible biker bar. And I said, I don't care. I'll come out and hear the band because they're good. They're rockers. So I was there and he was there.
Yes, I had gone down there. I had a friend who I had met being a carpenter who said he was the bouncer at this bar. And he said, Norm, if you ever need to talk, you're bummed out, want to do something, come on down. Yeah. So I went down to see him, paid my cover charge, went in, and then found out he wasn't there. So I got a drink. I was watching a NASCAR race. We looked at each other a couple times. You know how it is when you look, sometimes your eyes meet, you think somebody's looking at you, you immediately look away, which we did. But then with 10 laps to go in the race, they changed all the TVs, the channel on all the TVs but one. And that TV was directly in front of her. I had to stand directly behind her to watch it. And I was watching it, and she turned around and she goes, hey, there's an empty chair here. Would you like to sit down? And that's how we basically met and our relationship started.
So, Nada, you picked him up at a dive bar, huh?
Yes.
And it truly was a dive bar. I mean, if they turned the lights on, you'd want to leave.
I would never be there if my son wasn't playing. As a matter of fact, he had this electric guitar that he could unplug. He jumped off the stage and he kind of comes over to us. He says, Mom, do you need to be rescued? And I'm going, no, Mom's fine. She's good. We're having a good time. So that's that story. And then he asked me out, And we went out on our first date 2 days later, and
Yep.
we've never been apart.
Wow. So you guys been RVing all this time, but let's get to this story that that we really want to share and have people learn from what happened with you guys. Talk about what happened back in April, at the end of April, and the accident that changed a lot of your RV habits, but didn't kill them all. So talk
Exactly.
about that.
Yeah, we had been on a fantasy RV tour, did a Civil War battlefield tour, and then after it, visited family, made a couple stops, and we were on our way to North Carolina, coming down I-81. We were going down there. I'm a fly fisherman, and we wanted to. I was going to go fishing for a couple weeks, and then go pick up our granddaughters and take them on a vacation. So we're easing our way down I-81, and we were staying that night at the Natural Bridge KOA.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as we're going along, I mean, traffic is moving smoothly. I'm doing about 65, which is about the fastest I normally care to go in my RV. And as we're going, I look ahead and I see a sign for our exit. So I'm all excited. I'm like, oh, good, we're at the exit. This will be fantastic. I no sooner said that in my mind, and all of a sudden there was a bang, and the right front tire blew. As the right front tire blew, I followed all the protocols they give you that you're supposed to do when one of your steering tires blows. None of them changed anything. It dove directly for a ditch, went into the ditch, went up the bank a little bit, which was very steep. The motorhome laid over onto the driver's side and started sliding on the driver's side as it was going. Now, I screamed as soon as the tire blew for Nada. She was laying in the bed in back to hang on, because Nada has a bad back. And a lot of times when we're traveling, she'll lay on the bed. And I told her, hang on, this isn't good. And after it laid over on its side and it stopped, I yelled back to her, honey, are you okay? And she goes, I can't move. She goes, I don't know. I can't move.
I had fallen from the bed. I had just flipped off onto the floor, and something hit my head. You think it was the fridge, or we don't know.
No, I think she hit her head on the door, which was right there for the bedroom.
But I hit my head and I couldn't move because everything was down. I said to him, it was kind of like my worst fear, being in a coffin alive, because I couldn't move, I couldn't turn. And I was worried about him. He was worried about me, of course. And I did not know what was going on outside.
Right. And I yelled back to her, are you pinned, or is it just that you can't move? Is something holding you? And she said, no, I just can't move. And really what it comes to in that aspect is she didn't realize we were laying, I don't think, on the driver's side. So the bed now is vertical. So it's like she's inside of a room in a sense while she's there. So as I laid there on the ground, as the motorhome rolled over, I undid my seatbelt, because I could see we were going to slide into a guardrail. And the guardrail was coming right for the center of the motorhome, which is, as you know, with a diesel pusher, where the generator is. And all I can imagine is the guardrail going into the generator and pushing it right back into my lap as the driver. So I rolled off the seat onto the side of the motorhome. After I had crashed and yelled to her, I took inventory of myself, so to speak. I noticed I was bleeding from my left elbow, but they were just superficial cuts. I could feel that. And I felt a little burning in my right leg, but nothing was bleeding or anything. So luckily we had some people who saw the accident, some good Samaritans pulled over, and they came to the motorhome with some tools, actually, and they busted the windshield so I could get out. As we yelled back and forth, they had called 911. they said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I think I am. My wife is in the back." So they busted the windshield so I could at least exit the motorhome.
So,
Go ahead.
well, then apparently, like he said, he called 911. I'm yelling at him, call 911. We watched the TV series 911. So I'm kind of in my mind thinking some cute guys are going to come and lift me up. Didn't happen. Guy was kind of annoyed and he didn't quite know how to get me out. So then my husband, thank God.
Yeah, they came through the front, through the windshield that was broken out to try to get to her. But the couch had broken away when it fell over and landed in the middle of the aisleway. And it was a very blocked area. The refrigerator, the doors flew off the refrigerator. And in reality, it's a good thing Nana wasn't in her seat, because one of the doors of the refrigerator went right into her seat, which I think, which I think would have not been a good thing. Let's just put it that way.
So Nita, how did they get you out then? You're kind of trapped lying on the floor.
My husband did it.
Yeah, the firemen were outside trying to figure out, how do we get to her? How do we get to her? And I directed them. I said, take out the rear air conditioner and she's going to be right about there.
And lift her from there.
So they got a couple saws, cut out a large hole in the roof, and brought her out through the air conditioner hole that they cut.
What did you guys were both taken to the hospital? What did the paramedics tell you at the time?
Well, the paramedics said after things were like calmed down a little bit, I was speaking with one and he said, when we pulled up, we figured there'd be no survivors of this crash because it looked so bad.
Wow. Wow.
So we were blessed to be able to be here and do this with you today, the way we feel.
So you guys, we have some pictures of it, which we'll share with our YouTube audience that watch the podcast. But the diesel pusher was pretty much ruined.
Oh, it's done.
Oh yeah, it was toast. And the car, the amazing thing is the tow bar, we had a Blue Ox tow bar, held the car to the motorhome, and it was sideways also, and had slid across the ground and stayed right with the motorhome through the entire incident.
20 years we've been RVing. 20
Yeah, we've been RVing 20 years. We've never had an issue at all.
Never had an accident.
Never had an accident, no problems, nothing. And then bam, it just occurred.
Is there anything that could have been done differently with the tires? Did you learn anything about how old your tires were, what brand, anything in the tires that you...
No, the tires were 2.5 years old. They weren't old. They looked fantastic. I actually, when I took it in for service, I said, can you check the tires, and make sure they look good and everything, which they did, that my mechanics did. They said, it looks fantastic. I don't think you'll have any problems. There were probably 15,000 miles on the tires, not a ton of miles, but we used the motorhome quite a bit. So they weren't sitting still a lot. And, we have, as we mentioned, we've purchased a new motorhome since then.
Yeah, I'll come to that. I just want to go this tire thing. And the other thing is your speed. You said you go about 65. And I've seen so many other people going down the interstates, and they're 70, 75 miles an hour. If you had been going that fast, I would imagine this accident would have been much, much worse, if that's hard to believe, but even worse than it was.
Oh yeah, definitely, because it would have had a lot more momentum that would have pushed it farther as it was sliding across the ground and stuff once it rolled over. And
so,
go ahead.
So you guys were hospitalized for a little bit, right?
Just for a couple hours. They checked us out. They gave us CAT scans with dye, with contrast.
Yeah.
Said nothing in our brain. They released us at 11 p.m. I had no shoes, no socks. They released us to their cab, which took us to a hotel. And that was it. We knew nobody. We had nothing. They just released us to this.
Everything in the motorhome, none of that stuff is gone. What did your family and friends say? Did they say that's it? You guys are done RVing? And what did you guys say?
Our family was extremely supportive.
Yeah, they were extremely supportive.
Even my ex.
Yeah, even her
said,
ex.
"Are you going to get another one? Because that's who you are." And I said, "Norm's in his bed recuperating, looking at another one." So apparently we are. I had some friends who never understood RVing. They're kind of like from my first life. And they all thought that we should just, be grateful we were alive and hang it up.
Did
But
you,
we didn't listen.
you never for a moment thought about saying, okay, that's it, we're done?
No, not at all.
People
And
have
you were,
car accidents.
you started immediately looking for another RV, Norm. Is that what I heard, right?
Well, we were laying in the bed in the hotel, just trying to recuperate a little. And I had my phone and I'm just flipping on Facebook, looking, just wasting time basically. And all of a sudden an ad came up for an RV in Elkhart, Indiana.
Brand new.
Brand new RV up there. And I'm looking at it and I leaned over to Nada and I said, "Here's our new RV."
And it was, huh?
It was. We ended up purchasing it actually.
We just went up to Indiana to get it. Yeah.
So are you doing anything differently?
The tires.
Yes, we put the Tyron bands on the tires.
Explain those. Explain those.
They're supposed to help keep the tire on the vehicle if you have a blowout and allow you to steer it better.
And where do people get those?
We got them from our dealership. They were the RV came from. We called them when we talked to them. We said, we'd like to have these installed. Can you do that? And they said, we will have it done for you.
I think on your site on Facebook, people mentioned that.
Yes, they did. And
But
and by
we
the way, that's how we found you, because we have followed you. You shared all the details with our Facebook group, our RV Lifestyle Facebook group, and
Yes.
that Tyron tire blowout protection that they have is really neat to think. So for those who have accidents or there are setbacks, how do you pick up the pieces and just keep on going? You said something, Nada, you said that's what we are, is we're RVers. That's what we are. Talk about that.
Like I said, when we first met, we discussed that we both wanted to RV, and we have been ever since. We traveled all over the United States and back to some of the great national parks. We've taken our granddaughters who couldn't wait to come and then wanted to stay longer. And we are RVers. This is our second part of our life. We bought a house together for the first time, 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So we now have a house that we own together, but our RVing has always been a couple things. It's amazing that he wanted to RV and I had RV, but just little bits in my first life, to Florida and back and forth to a couple of states, never to the extent that we do now. Our RV was set up like a second home, like a summer house you'd have, with everything. We never had to bring in from the house to the RV, just food. Everything else was there. So it was devastating. It was like losing a house.
Yeah, it was like having.
It wasn't losing a car.
Yeah, it was like having your summer home blown up in a tornado, in a sense, with the accident. And we've traveled. We've done all 48 states. And we just love doing it.
Parks.
Yeah, national parks. I work camped for a while as a single work camper in Colorado, and we'd live in it 6-7 months at a time.
Yeah.
Were you able to salvage anything from the old one?
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of stuff. They
as hurt as he was, the next day he went to the RV and I don't know how, got inside, and he got so many of my favorite things, stupid things, like my favorite towel from my daughter, from my
Yeah.
hair. He pulled that out and other things. They're all in boxes. We went up just recently to the storage and pulled the boxes out. I don't know what's in there. It's in the RV outside.
Yeah,
So you immediately got yourself, you started looking for another RV. What advice do you, good for you, Norm. What advice do you guys have for other RVers when the unexpected happens like that?
don't. It's like they say about riding a horse. You fall off, get back on. If it's your accident is caused by something other than something you've done, you know what I'm saying, where you made a mistake driving, don't hesitate to go again. Accidents do happen. That's why it's called an accident. Things do occur. I mean, we're thankful that we were able to survive it and survive it as good as we did. I know myself, I was nervous going to that motorhome the first day after the accident. I had to rent a car to do it. And driving down I-81, I had to go right past where the accident was. And I didn't go over 55 miles an hour in that whole trip because I just felt nervous behind the wheel a little bit because this is, not even 24 hours later. And, I got to the motorhome. I got to see the aftermath, so to speak, of the accident and what had occurred and the mess, the disaster that it had turned into. Because our trip was going to be a 3-month trip. And here we are, just a little over a month into it, and it's over.
I will admit, because we now have a new one, coming home was a long ride and I was a little anxious. But I took a deep breath, like I used to tell my patients, and I relaxed. And I said, it's not in our hands. And I think that's important. I really felt that everything we could do, he could do to keep us safe was done.
It's your spirit and your sense of perspective that it was an accident. Accidents happen, and they don't happen all the time, but they do happen. So you got your new rig, and we'll put a picture of it. It's a beautiful new Georgetown. When's your next trip then?
In approximately 3 weeks, we're going up to the Chicago area to get our granddaughters that we were supposed to pick up on the original trip when the accident occurred. And we're taking them to Pigeon Forge and taking them to Great Smoky National Park, and it'll be nice. It should be fun.
It's only going to be a 10-day trip instead of 3 weeks, but they're excited. And this RV has bunk beds, so they can't wait.
Well,
yeah, where our diesel pusher they had to sleep on an air mattress on the floor because when we purchased that coach, we purchased it basically for the two of us. Yeah. Where this one, it's more family oriented.
Well, no, it had a sleeper sofa, and he pulled it out and put these great recliner seats in it. So we had no place for kids to sleep. But I think our perspective is different now.
Well, you guys have picked up the pieces marvelously. And I really enjoy meeting you. I look forward, Jennifer and I do, to seeing you on the road sometime and sitting around a campfire. And thank you for sharing your story and encouraging others to pick up the pieces when things don't go the way you hoped. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Aren't they a delightful couple?
That they are.
Yeah, I love Nada's. She says, we're RVers. This is who we are, she said. And Norm, battered and bruised after he got discharged in the hospital, recuperating in a motel room. First thing he's doing is going through his phone looking at new RVs to buy. I don't know. That's a tough one. Would you guys have quit? Would you have kept on? Maybe others have gone through the same type of experience. We would love to hear what you all decided. You can just send us an email, Mike and Jen at rvlifestyle.com.
Is this kind of like falling off a horse and getting back on it?
That's what they say,
Except much more serious.
Yeah. All right, the RV News of the Week is right after this. Jennifer and I bought some land near Nashville, Tennessee a while back. We got tired of crowded, expensive campgrounds and worrying about reservations. Tennessee is a gorgeous state with friendly people, and it has been such a pleasure. The same developer has some new property near us close to the Natchez Trace and Buffalo River called The Reserve at High Forest. Big properties, 5 to 41 acres. You can build a house, a cabin, or RV year-round. Prices start at only $89,900. Your property, your way, 100% ownership. The scenery in this part of Tennessee is breathtaking, and the property is gorgeous. Garden, landscape, bring your pets, build what you want. There's high-speed fiber optic internet, and it is so private. A great place to make your home base, ready whenever you want it. 5 to 41 acre properties from $89,900. There's even great financing. Check out the site and a video tour at rvlands.net. That's rvlands.net. Welcome back, everybody. Time now for the RV news of the week.
And have you heard about the July 4th shootout at Yellowstone National Park? We've been following the story closely over the weekend, and as of this writing, the National Park Service and FBI are not providing many details. What we do know is there was an armed man making threats at Canyon Village. The National Park Service responded. There was a shootout, and the shooter died, and a ranger was shot and is hospitalized but in stable condition. We found several news articles describing the scary moments of the shootout. Park employees were scrambling, hiding behind barriers and closet doors, making it sound like the shooter was not a tourist but rather a worker. Also, a Facebook page kept by a former National Park Service officer said the shooter worked as a concession employee, and this matches images of armed officers entering the concession employee housing. And Canyon Village is located in the center of the park and includes a lodge and cabins, campgrounds, ranger center, visitor center, store, and employee housing.
You know, one of the things that, and maybe it's because I'm a journalist, but when you hear something like that, what are the first things that go through your mind? And I find it really indefensible that the government, because that's what we're talking about, the NPS, withholds everything. All we want to know was, if you had told us right from the start, we believe this is an employee, a disgruntled employee, great, we understand that. But was it random? Was it some guy? Was it terror? They just don't say anything. And I'm sorry, it would solve a lot of issues with people if you would just be as open and transparent as you possibly could be. It just really helps, tell us the truth and tell us as soon as you can when something like that happens, because that's a scary story. All right, that's my little soapbox rant for today. Here's a story that is a sad one as well. A grandpa, a son, and his grandson who were preparing for a trip out west were hospitalized after their RV exploded. They were loading up their Class A for an epic trip out west, and it burst into flames. The neighborhood, rocked the neighborhood, sent everybody to the hospital. The heat from this fire was so intense, siding on nearby homes melted. And the moment the explosion occurred was caught on a neighbor's Ring camera. Families in Peabody, Massachusetts, they were preparing to leave for the Grand Canyon the next day. The father and the grandfather have third-degree burns, are hospitalized in stable condition as we record this episode in the intensive care unit at the hospital. A long road for them before they're out of there. The grandson was treated for burns and he was released, but will continue. He still has to have burn treatment as an outpatient. They don't know the cause of this fire, and again, it's probably part because we don't have a really strong news media in this country anymore. But share the cause, because the cause of something like that, was it leaky propane? We don't know. When we know that, it helps us all learn. Our hearts go out to this family and getting ready for a great vacation, and Obviously, it could have been worse, and for that, we're grateful. But tell us what it was so we can learn from it.
So dangerous, record-breaking temperatures are expected to continue this week, and it's affecting like a third of the U.S. population, or even more people. So if you're camping right now, how are you keeping cool, your RV cool? There is a record-breaking heat wave underway that's expected to shatter records from the west to the east coast, affecting about 130 million people. And this warning went out over the weekend and is continuing through Wednesday of this week, with the Pacific Northwest, Mid-Atlantic, and Northwest all expecting temperatures over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Some cities like Portland, Oregon, have declared a state of emergency. A couple of fires have broken out in California, and in New Jersey, a wildfire there forced evacuations of the Batona campground. Desert spots in the southwest are bracing for 120 degree Fahrenheit temperatures. And Death Valley, one of the hottest places on Earth, set a record Friday for reaching 127 degrees Fahrenheit. But temperatures are expected to reach 130 degrees Fahrenheit early this week. Can you imagine?
Somebody on our Facebook community wrote me a note, and they said, "Hey, why don't you and Jen come out to Death Valley? We'd love to show you around. It's one of our favorite places." And I thought of that when I read this story. No thanks, not in the summertime. We're not going to Death Valley. Death Valley's gorgeous, but 130 degrees. We experienced something close to that once when we were in the Middle East.
We were in Petra.
In Petra, yeah.
Yeah,
well, that was in Jordan.
Jordan.
And then we were also in Bahrain when it was really, really hot like that,
Yes.
too. So it's just unreal how hot it can be.
Yeah.
Weather's crazy. I mean, we had Hurricane Beryl that came ashore in Texas over the weekend, and is now kind of, as this episode is being released on Wednesday, it's supposed to sort of the effects are kind of going to just peter out by the time it reaches the Great Lakes region. And they say that we're going to get a really bad hurricane season this year. But in the past week or so, strong winds have killed one person, injured three. Many RVs in Kansas were wrecked. The storm went through last week out there, knocking over RVs, and you can imagine the fear a lot of campers had. They were celebrating the 4th of July by camping. There's these sheer winds that came through 70 miles an hour, and many RVers had planned on camping at Kansas Lake there through the weekend, but instead they spent it picking up the pieces of their mangled RVs. We saw some pictures from the area that showed all kinds of RVs knocked over. Must have been very terrifying for everybody. So one of the things that we recommend is that you have a weather radio. And we will put a link in this story to the one that we used from Midland. We'll just put an Amazon affiliate link to it. But these things are really must-have for an RVer, for anybody really, but particularly an RVer. So this year has been crazy weather-wise. So invest the money if you don't have one. Get one of these Midland weather radios. There's others you can get. This happens to be the one that we have, and we can recommend it. Stay informed. Crazy weather out there. All right, when we come back, the RV question of the week and Mike and Jen's story time. Stay with us.
When we're asked what's the most important modification we made to our RV, it's an easy answer. Battle-Born batteries. Battle-Born batteries are quality, safe, reliable lithium batteries that allow us to stay out there off the grid longer. Lithium batteries charge faster, they charge fuller, they're longer lasting, they're maintenance free, and Battle-Born batteries are protected by a 10-year guarantee. Now in our case, they just dropped into the existing AGM batteries that we have, and they'll probably be the same on your rig too. Battle-Born battery experts can get those in your rig just like they did with ours. They can also match you up with the right cabling, the inverter, the charger, the solar controller, everything. Jennifer and I swear by our Battle-Born batteries. They allow us to boondock off the grid. Check them out. Go to rvlifestyle.com/lithium. rvlifestyle.com/lithium.
Welcome back to the RV question of the week. And the question is, we just bought a fifth wheel and wonder, what do you take out after a trip? And what do you leave in the fifth wheel between trips? And that's Alexis.
Well, I don't know. What do we? Let's see. What do we take out first?
Well, obviously, we take out all the food that's going to perish because we turn off the refrigerator unless we're going away in like a day or two. And I clean out that refrigerator really good, make sure nothing's left in there because, boy, what a mess if you leave something in that refrigerator.
And it kind of melts.
Yeah.
If you have it, you can develop mildew in there and
Yeah.
humidity. So
Yep, so the refrigerator is totally empty.
open the doors on the refrigerator after it cools off, after it warms up.
And then make sure if you got your fifth wheel, remember to shut those doors if you need to, if you have to bring in a slide.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That's when we learned the hard way, to make sure it's
Yeah.
shut.
We've learned a lot of things
We
the
learned
hard
just
way.
3/4 of things the hard way, it seems. And I look over my pantry and think, what can I leave out and what do I need to bring in? Obviously, no fruit or vegetables are left. And I consider the cans, jars, how long will it be before we take off again? And clothing, we just leave some jackets and raincoats, umbrellas and things in the fifth wheel all the time. And it's nice, you could leave towels in there. So you take all your dirty laundry out, take the sheets off the bed and get everything in that you need to clean. And something that you need to be aware of is medicine. Read the labels on even whatever
Vitamins.
used for painkillers and
Even
vitamins.
Vitamins too, yeah.
Things like that, because excessive heat will ruin their effectiveness. Spices, all different things. So you have to think about too cold or too hot, and maybe bring in some things that you really didn't want to bring in.
Yeah, we leave a vacuum cleaner in there. We have duplicates of some things.
Yes.
We have a coffee. Jen doesn't drink coffee, but I have a Keurig, and we leave that in there. We do not leave water in it because it'll go skunky on you, and you don't want mildew.
You don't want mold.
So you mold, yeah. So you just kind of clean that out. Clothes, we do like to leave a lot of our clothes out there. Sometimes I'll go out and I'll say, I need that shirt. It's out in the RV. But it's one of the things about having a fifth wheel or something larger like that is you can leave a lot of stuff in there.
You can leave a lot of stuff. And when I'm going through all those cupboards I'm looking around saying, now, do I need to resupply paper towels, napkins, or a couple of paper plates, or am I good?
Yeah, and we're doing that right now, as a matter of fact, because we're going to be gone for 6 weeks. And I think the biggest challenge is food, right? Because you have to bring your food in.
Yeah. And think twice about, like I say, medicines.
Yep. When we, the day before we're to leave, I always go the day before and turn on the refrigerator. So it's nice and cold. And then once it's cold, we can start bringing stuff in, the day before, the night before. And it's, you don't have to carry everything in all at once. But we don't leave the refrigerator on all the time.
Right. And I like to make up sandwiches for when we travel so that we're good to go. Just pull in a rest area and we can have our lunch without me having to do a bunch of work. It's all set to go. Even what we're going to have that night for dinner, I like to have that ready in the fridge so that, again, try to make it simple. It makes it work before you go, but simple when you're on the road.
Yep.
I like to avoid eating out.
Why? People could have heard that. Why? I love to eat. I don't. That's why I go camping so I don't have to cook. But
often there's long lines. Usually, food isn't that good. Even a chain, one chain that you're familiar with, the food's great. You go to the same chain someplace else, and the food is awful. There's normally too much salt
oh my gosh,
on
salt.
food, and I am supposed to avoid salt.
All of us should avoid salt.
Yeah, I think everybody should.
And the older you get, the more salt is really
not your friend.
It's not your friend.
So it's pricey, time-consuming, and pricey. And usually the food's not that good.
Yep. So there you go. We're going through that right now. And we hope that helps you, Alexis. But you'll figure your own system out And that's kind of what we do when we get in. The first thing we do is we bring in all the dirty clothes, and then over the next hour or two, or sometimes even the next day, we'll bring in the food and then turn off the refrigerator.
And I think everybody's familiar with, that you can't put something wet in a closed basket. It has to be dry, or you're asking for mold and trouble.
Yeah.
A little more work to clean everything up. And when we get home from a trip, like the next day, if I have time the same day, I would do it the same day. I start wiping things down, get things clean, because then it's not so overwhelming for the next time you want to go. Like, oh, I got to clean that thing.
Yeah, it is. All right. Do you have a question for us? We'd love to answer them. Just send it to us at our private email, which is mikeandjen@rvlifestyle.com. Time now for RV Story Time with Mike and Jen. And we have a oldie but goodie for you this week.
So, when we first shared these tips in a video like 11 years ago,
we looked a lot younger. Wait till you see this video.
A decade really makes a difference, as you all
Holy
know.
cow. I looked at this video and I said, that was me? Yeah. But we had I think we'd been RVing for maybe 2 years before we made this video. And we were in a Class B at the time.
Mm-hmm.
A road trek Class B.
Not a lot of room in there.
Not a lot of room, but we have found that this story has resonated with so many people. People oftentimes say, oh, I read your 10 tips for getting along with for how couples can get along in an RV. And I always have to go, what? And now I know exactly what they're talking about. They still are digging up that video. And the tips have all held true. They still hold very true, right?
Yeah, some things just don't change, human nature.
So we're going to play the audio of that, and if those of you watch on our YouTube channel, you'll see the old video as well. But I think you'll pick it all up. The 10 tips on how couples can live together peacefully.
In a small space.
On a recent trip in our road trek, Jennifer and I were doing some stuff, and, well, I forgot we were in a 22-foot long motorhome until she said,
I need a little bit of space with you not in it.
I withdrew immediately.
But the incident got me thinking. You see, there's really not a whole lot of room in there. So, to survive and enjoy the adventure, we've come up with our top 10 rules for getting along in a motorhome.
Rule number 1, if you have problems getting along at home, don't expect it to be easier in a motorhome. 2 people can share the same space, but the most important rule is mutual respect, and don't try to do 2 different things in the same space.
Rule number 2, don't overpack. You really don't need to have any more than, say, a 3-day supply of food or clothes. You can do laundry on the road, and you can buy food locally where it's the freshest.
Rule number 3, everything has a place and a place for everything. Agree beforehand where you're going to store things. When done using, return them to that place and nowhere else.
Rule number 4, if you travel with pets, assign them a space too. Dogs and cats love to know where they're supposed to be. Assign them their spot in the motorhome and train them to sleep there, not in front of the bathroom door where you'll trip on them in the middle of the night.
Rule number 5, as much as possible, plan ahead those meals. Grill outside, and if you dirty a dish or glass, clean it. Put it away right away after eating.
Don't overdrive. Going any more than 350, 400 miles in a day is going to tire you out. Remember, you're motorhoming because it's fun. Driving too far and too long makes everybody cranky.
Rule number 7, stay fit. Exercise. Don't pack on those extra pounds. Take long walks, bring a bike. Find and visit health clubs along the way. Too much sitting, like too much driving, isn't good for anyone.
Rule number 8, explore. Use Google or the internet or your GPS to find interesting spots in the towns and the places that you're passing. Visit a museum, learn the location's history, try to eat at a locally owned restaurant instead of fast food places. Don't be in such a hurry all the time.
Rule number 9, be careful buying souvenirs. Your motorhome only has so much space. Ship the must-have things home instead of jamming every available storage spot with things that aren't essential for being on the road.
Rule number 10, this is the big one. When you're wrong, admit it. Conflict is inevitable. Jen, I'm sorry I invaded your space back there.
Don't hesitate to forgive. That's okay. You're forgiven.
Well, we hope this helps.
I still think on that video, the line, and it's a line that you will be forever famous with, was,
I need a little bit of space with you not in it.
do you remember that?
How could I forget? I think everybody can say that. I need a little bit of space with you not in it.
I don't know
At
how
one
I
time
felt
or
when
another.
you said that. I think I was first.
You laughed.
Well, I thought you were joking, and then I thought about it, and then I was like, wow,
I need a little bit of space with you not in it.
that's harsh. And then I realized that is really creative. So I think I put it on Facebook at the time. Jennifer just
Oh, you
said she
did.
needed some space with me not in it.
Yeah, and then you got all this sympathy from people for having to live with me.
There you go.
Yeah.
A couple of the guys said, yeah, I know that
Poor
feeling.
man.
Yeah, I'm so abused, don't you think? Anyway, I'll give you credit as a
Okay.
great line.
Everybody out there, male or female, there are times you need space without somebody else, even somebody who you love dearly in that space.
Yeah. Okay. You're going to get all the sympathy votes this time, so that's good.
Maybe.
All right, that's podcast for this week. Wish us luck getting this the hitch out of our old truck and installed on our new. And as we start packing up, following our own advice about packing to head to the Canadian Maritimes and our fantasy RV tour, we are really starting to get excited about that for the next 6 weeks. We're Mike and Jen. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Happy trails.